Welcome everyone to I guess you can call it okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to another episode of I guess this is you can call it Beyond the Game post game show or whatever you want to call it. My name is Jamie and I didn't go live today because there's scheduling conflicts with my schedule and all this stuff. I work a night shift and I'm supposed to go on at 12 o'clock, but obviously, when you're working night shift, you're trying to get some sleep in. You tend to go over the time, so that's what happened today. But there will be a show tomorrow. That will come with. I'm still going to recap the Cowboys game, and also I'm going to recap the game twos that we had tonight in the WNBA. Also, wanted to recap the college football that we saw this past weekend. In terms of switching over to the next college football, I guess weekend or something like that, broadcast or something like that. But I'm here today because we're going to talk about the Mystics, the Washington Mystics of the WNBA. We're going to talk about them because I spent a lot of time watching them throughout the season. This is their off season. Obviously, last week was their last game of the season. We didn't expect this team to win 16 games. You won 13 last year. Um, you put yourself in a position where you can do a lot of things, and the having to switch over a new coach, new GM, you're having to start from scratch. It worked out for them because they were in it up until the All Star break and that part of July into August. In August, they made a trade. They traded Brittany Sykes to the Seattle Storm. They got Alicia Clark back. They got a bunch of draft picks. So basically, it worked out for the Mystics because they see it as like, okay, the future is now. We can work with two players. We can work with Sonia Citron and Kiki Inferin. Those are the two franchise players that you have on your team. So the organization was saying, "Hey, let's trade Sykes now. Let's get at least Alicia Clark back, which that's not a bad player either. Alicia Clark is different veteran wise than Brittany Sykes. I think everybody's different the way they lead, and so that's why they ended up making the trade. They traded for uh, they traded for Alicia Clark and Zaya Cook, where Zaya Cook got released by Washington to go back to Seattle. So um, it worked out for both parties because now the Washington Mystics can focus on the draft for this year, for this upcoming year draft because 2026 they should have at least four, maybe five picks overall. Most of those picks will be in the first round, and I see that I don't. And let me give you a little disclaimer here. There is nobody. I sorry. I will not be able to do numbers. There's because again, I don't do contract stuff. I will never tell you, okay, you're gonna have Kiki or Sonya or Steph Dolson for 3 more years. I'm not that type of guy. I'll tell you what I see on the court and what I see in the organization. So on the court, you got Sonia Citron and Kiki Inferin. Both players play 44 games. Both players are the future of your franchise. You can put a big three together. That's basically what they're missing. That piece in the middle, maybe a shooting guard slash small forward. It doesn't have to be a veteran. It can be someone in the draft. And if they do get a free agent if they go through free agency, then I don't know if you trade a draft pick or not. Maybe you just sign a trade with some other team and then you give your one of your draft picks away or else you keep your draft picks and try to build off that. I think that's what the Mystics are going to do. But on the court, Sonya Citro, the She wasn't even good. She was good at Notre Dame, but she wasn't like their main option. Like teams weren't preparing for Sonia Central every game. When she was at Notre Dame, she was strictly a 3-point shooter. We didn't see, okay, the drives to the basket. We didn't see the creation that she could have made. We saw more Hannah Hidalgo. Well, we saw a little bit of Olivia Miles. That was a good Notre Dame team until they crashed down the stretch. But that's a different story for a different day. But Sonya has a future. 21 years old. She's going to be 22 next month. Jump shots pure. Shot 47% from the field, 45% from 3-point range. Uh, she can get her shot at any day possible. You talk about the creation of this young lady. You know, you know the only weakness in her game is her defense. I think that if you want to be a two-way player, you have to play a little bit of defense, and I think the Mystics I think Sonya will fix that. I haven't seen any word that she's playing in any Unrivaled or Athletes Unlimited league or something like that. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe she's taking the whole season off. Obviously, with these young players, um, it depends on how everybody feels because you got drafted. You went through the college basketball season. You went through that, and then you got prepared for the draft in April, and you got drafted in April. Then the season came on. You played all 44 games, and you came in second in Rookie of the Year voting, which they gave it to Paris Beckers, I think unanimously, which I think my vote would have been it'll be slightly Paige. I would have gave her 51 to like 49% Paige because of the talent that Paige has. I wouldn't say that Paige is better than Sonia Central. I'll say both of them have different games to each his own. I think Paige is very creative. Sonia Central is very creative, but in her own way. She's the aggressor. She's an aggressor downhill player. Paige does her aggression with her mid-range jump shot, which is one of the best in the league. But Sonia Central is the future of your franchise. Also, Kiki Inferin played in 44 games, averaged 14 points a game and 9 rebounds. 22 years old, she shot 48% from the field. I'm assuming in the off season because she's playing in the unrivaled league. Sorry, not unlimited, unrivals league. She will be able to improve that percentage. You talk about a player that wasn't the best player on his college basketball team. Juju went down. They had to rely more on Kiki. And when Juju was there playing, you didn't know Kiki that much. It was more Juju than Kiki. But Kiki went to Stanford, and I think that was her best season over there. She had a decent season with USC, but she had a greater season with the Mystics. That I would say her improvement is that field goal percentage. Just find what spot works on the court. Another issue that the Mystics might be facing is Shakira Austin. Now, Shakira Austin missed a lot of games this past season. We know that she has to get healthy for the Mystics to get where they need to go. Because if she's not, this Mystics team does not go anywhere where she's. This Mystics team does not go anywhere at all. And so with Shakira, they both have similar games. They both can, face you up at the top of the key, face you up in the elbow. They both play their back behind the basket. It depends who gets the ball on that possession. If the Mystics run their offense that way. The Mystics are post heavy. It's just that they have one of the solid post players in the league. They have both of them. They have Shakira also can be that player if healthy. Kiki can be that player if she improves that field goal percentage. That's one of the reasons why the future is bright in Washington. And that's one of the reasons why you traded Aaliyah Edwards away because you just those two were going to be your main focus. Now, I know the team lost 10 straight. They were like I said, they were in it up until that trade. You know, you lost a leader in the locker room, but the Mystics were looking at it as like, okay, we got we got a total of 4, 5, 6 picks in the 2026 draft. We can look at it as like, okay, we can trade our Brittany Sykes now, get Alicia Clark back, and let's see what she can provide. And if we make it, okay. If we don't, then that's fine too, because we still got our picks. I would say go for a shooting guard slash small forward. I think this team is loaded. I think, Georgia Amore missed the whole entire season with the ACL injury that she suffered in training camp. That's another question that Sidney Johnson has to answer. Where do you put Georgia Amore? Again, she's coming off ACL injury. We don't know how she's going to be. It's different for most players coming off a significant injury because your movement will be your key. How you move, how you're able to, you know, be in the lineup on a nightly basis. So that's difficult. That's difficult enough. And you got another point guard in Jan Melbourne, the Australian girl. Um, I think she's like 21. This is a young roster, guys. It is a young roster. Outside of Alicia Clark, it's definitely Steph Dolson. So, Sage, well, I can't remember pronounce her name. Anyways, this is going to be a tough decision to make. You did trade for J.C. Sheldon, which I'm assuming that J.C. Sheldon will play a little bit of the off guard when she comes. They're guard heavy. It makes playing time difficult. See, people, it's just the future's bright in Washington, but they got a difficult roster, and that roster only works if somebody's willing to sacrifice. Yeah, Sonya Citron, Kiki, Ifrin, they're safe. They are safe. It's just you got Sage, you got Jan, you got Georgia, you got J.C. Sheldon. All four players can play the point guard position slash shooting guard. Do you move Sonya Central to the three, or do you say, okay, we're going to keep Sonya Central at two, then we're going to put Jan Milmore at one, which I think Jan Milmore will improve, but it's the pace of play. The leadership will improve for Jan. Because again, the pressure will be on the coaching staff to see who is your point guard in 2026. I don't expect the Mystics to draft a point guard in 2026. I expect them to go in their draft shooting guard slash small forward. Let's see what happens with that. But the Mystics, again, it depends. 10 straight losses. A lot of people want the coach fired. I don't think the coach should be fired. I think he put them in the best position possible to win. And it was unfortunate that you had to give up Brittany Sykes. So my final take will be, I'm going to give this grade a C. This grade is a C. The 10 straight losses is not good. The possessions in the fourth quarter weren't great. You got numerous times in the season. I'm going to say about 20 games they led going into the fourth quarter, or at least they got close to leading the fourth quarter. All they needed to do is, play a little bit of defense, kill the turnovers, and let's run our offense through Sonya and Kiki. The problem was when you got rid of Sykes, you saw the fourth quarter miscues. You saw the turnovers, you saw the poor leadership, you saw the questionable shot selections. You saw a lot, and that's why the Mystics are sitting at home instead of playing in the playoffs, which I think they could have. I honestly think they would have gave. No disrespect to the Valkyries. I honestly think they would have gave the Lynx a little bit of trouble in game one, honestly, if Sykes was staying on the team. So the future is bright in Washington. You got 6 draft picks, average 37 points a game. I want to say you gave up about 75 plus a game. Sonya Citron, Kiki Iriafen are the future of the franchise. You can't lose those two. You just need to ask somebody that's in the middle. Add a big three. We haven't seen a big three since. No, I'm sorry, I can't say that. We haven't seen this team get to its fullest potential. And they have it, and they have a chance in 2026 if the right moves were made in the offseason and if they attack the draft like crazy. All right, guys, that's my Washington Mystics pre offseason recap. I will see y'all in the next one.